Hello. I'd like to have a conversation today about the elderly or elders in the body and the respect and the dignity that we should show them. And I think it's a very important subject because in doing uh, so, in other words, respecting and showing honor to the gray haired elders, we give reference to Yahuwah. And so, therefore, a very important matter. Nowadays, uh, this uh, is kind of practiced throughout most of the countries, but here in the United States, it seems to be a lost art to stand up in the presence of the elderly, or even when a woman walks into the room, it's no longer, people no longer stand up or take notice of the woman. So anyway, I'd kind of like to talk about this a little bit and find out what Scripture has to say about it. And it's really kind of, I don't know, it's close to my heart to say this subject because I was raised quite a bit, not my entire life, but on and off by my grandparents. And so I understand the importance and the wisdom of the elderly, and I've always, to some degree or level, shown them reverence and respect and honor. Okay, so let's see what Scripture has to say about it, and we'll try to keep this short as possible. So let's start off in James chapter 1, verse 26. Let's start our lesson off there, okay? If anyone among you thinks he is pious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this one's piousness is worthless. It's worthless. It means nothing. It carries no value. Clean and undefiled piousness before the All and Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained from the world. All right. So, that's it. Let's go to Leviticus 19:32. Leviticus 19, verse 32. I am Yahuwah, your all. Rise up before the gray-headed, and you shall favor the face of an old man, and shall fear your all. I am Yahuwah. And when a stranger sojourns with you in your land, do not oppress him. Let the stranger who dwells among you be to you as the native among you. And you shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Mitzrayim. So there we go. Stand up before the gray-headed, and you shall favor the face of an old man. Alright, so that means an old man, you should be showing him favor. You do stuff for him. In other words, if you see him having a hard time cutting up a steak or something, why not stand up and go over and ask if you can cut up their steak for them, cut it up into small biteful pieces for them. How about if they're having a hard time standing up? I've seen some of them having a hard time standing up. The old practice of years ago especially for the Boy Scouts, is that if you saw an old person crossing the road, you would go and help them cross the road, you know, so to make sure they didn't stumble on the seamen or in traffic, you know. Um, Things like that, you know, do stuff for them out there. If it's winter time, they're having a hard time putting on their coat. Have you ever noticed a lot of older people won't even take off their coats in restaurants and stuff because they have such a hard time taking them off and putting them, especially putting them back on. So they just sit there with their coats on. Now help them put their coat on if they were able to take it off. Stuff like that, you know. I mean, just show kindness and respect towards their age. Uh, I've always loved to, you know, respect the elderly. You know, even way before I knew about Yahuwah. And when an older person would need a seat or would walk into a room or something, I would just naturally want to stand up and show them honor, you know, and respect their age and that gray hair. Just something about them, man. Always impressed me, you know. So anyway, let's move on. Nowadays, I think people have it wrong. You know, they want to esteem the youth, the young man and his strength, you know, push the old person out, like, get out of the way, you old varmint. Make room for the new and the strong, the powerful, you know. Uh, yeah. You know, it's almost like a tribal instinct or something, you know, only the strong will survive, or only the strong deserves to survive, you know. Get out of my way, you're in my way, you're walking too slow, instead of helping the person along, you know, with their strength. That's what they should be doing, is using their strength for righteousness, right, to help the elderly person walk to where they're going, or help, you know, if they're coming. You ever see an older person come out of a store with a buggy and they got like dog food or cat food or cat litter or something in their buggy for their pet, and you can see the panic on their face, the concern on their face as they're pushing the cart across the parking lot, actually using it to walk. So what they're really doing, but because they know as soon as they get to their vehicle, somehow, some way, they have to manipulate that heavy bag, that 50-pound bag or 30-pound bag, out of their cart and into their vehicle, right? So it's almost, you can almost see it in their eyes, the concern and the worries, almost like they're wanting Yahuwah to give them a miracle and just, you know, zap it over, make it float from their buggy over into their vehicle or something for them. So I mean, if you see that, you know, kind of make a detour, head toward them. They'll know what you're coming to do. You're going to help them with that bag and put it in the car, you know. And really, they're helping you out, right? And they're helping you to be obedient to the word of Yahuwah, right? So there you go. And let's turn to 1 Kings 12, verse 3 says, all the assembly of Yesharal came and spoke to Rehoboam, saying, that was Solomon's son, you know, taking over as king after Solomon died, right? Saying, your father made our yoke hard, and now lighten the hard service of your father, and his heavy yoke which he put on us, then we serve you. And he said to them, go away for 3 days, then come back to me. And the people went. Then sovereign Rehoboam consulted the elders who stood before his father Solomon while he still lived. And he said, what do you advise me to answer these people? And they spoke to him, saying, if you are a servant to these people today, and shall serve them, and shall answer them, and speak good words to them, then they shall be your servants all the days. But he ignored the advice of the elders, gave the advice the elders gave him, and consulted the young men, whom he had grown up with, who stood before him. And he said to them, What advice do you give? How should we answer this people who have spoken to me, saying, Lighten the yoke which your father put on us? And the young man who had grown up with him spoke to him, saying, Say this to this people who have spoken to you, saying, Your father made our yoke heavy, but you made it lighter on us. But you make it lighter on us. Say this to them, My little finger is thicker than my father's waist. And now my father laid a heavy yoke on you, but I add to your yoke. My father flogged you with whips, but I flog you with scourges. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the sovereign had spoken, saying, Come back to me on the third day. But the sovereign answered the people harshly and ignored the advice which the elders had given him. And he spoke to them according to the advice of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I add to your yoke. My father flogged you with whips, but I flog you with scourges. So there you go. The new king, Solomon's son, after his death, it took over the kingdom of Yisrael, denied the request of the elders. He ignored them and listened to the youth, his friends that he grew up with that were his age, and by doing so became a tyrant. And what happened? Well, as the story goes, this is what caused the division of Israel. It caused them to Israel to be divided into two kingdoms, the northern kingdoms and the southern kingdom, right? So the northern kingdom, Ephraim, which was 10 tribes, was separated by the two other tribes in the southern kingdom, Yehuda and Benjamin, right? Isn't that right? Anyways, this king, his reluctance to listen to the elders caused the division of Yisrael into two kingdoms, the northern and the southern. Okay, so there was a consequences for ignoring the advice of the elders. Makes you wonder what would have happened. We can only imagine what would have actually happened if he would have listened to the advice of the elders. Possibly Israel would have never divided. Possibly they would have never been driven out. You know, who knows? Scattered, you know. Okay, so let's go to Isaiah 46. Isaiah 46. 1. Bel has bowed down. Nebo is stooping. Their idols were on the beast and on the cattle. That which is carried is burdensome, a burden to the weary. They have stooped. They have bowed down together. They were unable to deliver the burden, but they themselves went into captivity. Listen to me, O house of Jacob, and all the remnant of the house of Israel, who are born from the belly, who are carried from the womb. Even to your old age, I am he, and even to gray hairs I carry. I have made and I bear, and I carry and rescue. So very interesting here, you know, that even when we get old, even gray-headed and we can't walk, that Yahuwah will carry us, okay, and rescue us. So even though our minds may fail us, our eyes may dim, our hearing may dim, our teeth fall out, you know, we can't walk, the smallest task becomes a burden, almost impossible to eat and sleep because of the aches and pains of the body and joints and stuff. Yahuwah promises to bear us, to carry us, and to rescue us, even in our old age when our hair turns gray. Even though we may not even remember him, our minds could slip, right? There's dementia, all kinds of things that could happen to older people. And you may not even remember there's an all, and his name is Yahuwah, you know, but he says he will bear you, he'll carry you, and he'll still rescue you, even if that happens to the very end, either when he comes back or you fall asleep. So, very interesting, really. Okay, let's go to Psalms 71. Psalm 71, verse 7. I have become as a wonder to many, but you are my strong refuge. My mouth is filled with your praise, your splendor all the day. Do not cast me off in the time of old age, when my strength fails. Do not forsake me. So here even King David, right, is concerned about Yahuwah for casting him off and forgetting about him if he becomes old and senile. I mean, King David was so concerned about Yahuwah forgetting about him in his old age when his mind slipped, you know, and he became senile and couldn't remember even who Yahuwah is. He wrote an entire song about it in Psalm 78. Read Psalm 78, and you'll see his concern, this concern of King David turning old, what concern he had about it. But we just read that no matter what, Yahuwah is going to carry us and rescue us, even in that situation. Okay, so we don't have to really worry about that. But King David was really worried about it for sure. Do not cast me off in the time of old age. When my strength fails, do not forsake me. For my enemies have spoken against me, and those who watch for my life have taken counsel together, saying, all has forsaken him. Pursue and take him, for there is no one to deliver. O all, do not be far from me, my all. Hasten to my help. Let those who are adversaries of my life be ashamed, consumed. Let those who seek my evil be covered with reproach and confusion. But I continually wait and shall praise you more and more. My mouth recounts your righteousness, your deliverance all the day. Though I do not know their numbers, I come to the might of the Master Yahuwah. I make mention of your righteousness, yours alone. You have taught me from my youth, and to this day I declare your wonders. And also when I am old and gray, Elohim, do not forsake me until I declare your strength to a generation, your might to all those who are to come. For your righteousness, O all, is most high. You who have done great deeds, all. Who is like you? So there you go. The worries of King David, right? Of old age and being gray-headed, getting dementia. All right, let's see now. We're looking at Proverbs 16:31. Proverbs 16:31. Gray hair is a crown of adorning. It is found in the way of righteousness. Wow. Gray hair is a crown of glory or adorning. It is found in the way of righteousness. Yeah. Every gray hair is a symbol. It's symbolic of someone's trial or tribulation that they went through in their life or a mistake they had made. Once they have the crown of adorning on, then that represents they have learned their lesson, and hopefully, I would say, vast majority of gray-headed people have learned not to make that same mistake again. And that strand of gray hair is their reminder. It's almost like zitzits, right? The gray zitzits reminding us of our mistakes and not to sin no more, not to make those mistakes again, right? Yep. All right, so Proverbs 20:29. Proverbs 20:29. The comeliness of young men is their strength, or the glory. Comeliness of young men is their strength. They never know them walking around showing their muscles off, sticking their chests out, holding their head up high, almost with a tilted nose. And the splendor of old men is their gray hair. The comeliness of young men is their strength, and the splendor of old men is their gray hair. You see a gray-headed person, whether it be a man or a woman, walking down the street. When you look at them, you shouldn't look at a weak person that is not valuable. They're anything but that. They're actually a strong person who has survived many, many years of hardships, okay, trials and tribulations on this planet. Some of them prisoners of war, loved ones died, just all kinds of terrible things they've been through, and they survived. And that gray hair is a testimony of not only their strength and their ability to survive, but the wisdom that they've endured over the years has been forced upon them by their age. Their survival. The older someone is, the more hardships they've been through. They've been through a lot. The older they are, the more they've suffered and been through. You better believe that. All right. Young men, use your strength, not as to esteem yourself or to abuse the elderly, but to support the elderly and show respect and love toward them, and honor them, because they are truly strong people. They're survivors. They've been through a tremendous amount, and they carry much wisdom and understanding and experience with them that they would be more than willing to share with you if only you show them a little bit of respect and a little bit of kindness along the way. Okay? All right, let's go to 1 Timothy 4:16. Pay attention to yourself and to the teachings. Pay attention to yourself and to the teachings. Continue in them, for in doing this you shall save both yourself and those who hear you. Do not rebuke an older man, but appeal to him as a father, younger ones as brothers, elderly women as mothers, younger ones as sisters, in all cleanliness. Respect widows who are truly widows. There you go. So, in conclusion to that, my thoughts are that just because you're young or younger doesn't mean you're without knowledge or strength or understanding, or your value, you don't have any value. It's not what it means. That's pride taking over, if you feel anything to that effect. Okay, the elderly have been around a lot longer, and they're very strong people. They're survivors, or they You know, look, they had to live to get to where they are. Okay, they did a lot of living, and to show them honor and respect by standing up in their presence, giving them your seat or helping them, man, you know, it's referencing Yahuwah. So don't even hesitate to do it. The more we walk in humility and humble ourselves in the presence of the elderly and our elders, the more we reference Yahuwah. He, you know, after all, he is ancient of days, right? He carries them and rescues them even in their last day, you know, in the last days they have left walking on the earth, right? So we should do the same, okay? Yeah, you're not showing weakness by honoring an older person or an elder. You know, you're just giving them their due respect. Matter of fact, let me say this, and then I'm going to get off of here. I can remember when I was 30, let's just say, I thought I'd done caught up with society, and I knew quite a bit. Okay, and so I was somewhat arrogant to the fact that I was 30 years old, and I finally became a full-fledged adult in my mind, knew what was going on in life, and thought I knew a lot. And then time I hit 40, I realized how much I didn't know at 30. But now I was very confident that I was a man and had earned my stripes, if you will, and knew what was going on in life and what life was about. And after all, I was starting to get a little bit of gray right in here, you know, maybe a couple strands in my beard, which was naturally black and red. So I thought I had it going on, you know, and nobody could tell me nothing. You know, I was old enough to voice my opinion and stand my ground, okay, even against the elderly or our elders. So then by the time I hit 50, I realized how much I didn't know at 40. I said, how could I have been so dumb to think I knew everything at 40 years old? And here I'm 50, and I realize how little I didn't know. And it goes on. And now, at my age now, I look back at when I was 50, you know, and realize, man, there was so much I didn't know. It's ridiculous. I thought I knew it all, and I didn't know anything. And I got a feeling that these folks, these are elders that are 70, 80, 90, and even centurions, 100 or more, probably look back at us, even when we're in our 50s, 60s, and they look and say, they think they know everything. They don't know anything yet. Wait till they get to be my age. See what I'm saying? So we just need to stay humble and walk in humility with Yahuwah and respect the elderly, the people that are older than us. Show them dignity, respect, and honor, and do unto others as we would have them do unto us. Okay? And we can learn a whole lot from elderly people because they've been around. Now, you might say, well, this guy's 80 years old and he's a Christian. He doesn't know anything about the true name or Yahuwah or anything like that. Well, count your blessings. All right, count your blessings. Because you have found compassion and favor from Yahuwah in order that he revealed the truth to you in your youth. You know, powerful stuff. But should you brag about that? Point out that you know more than that elderly? Absolutely not. Stay humble. Very, very humble. The more humble you are, the closer you come to Yahuwah. Why? Think about it. The creator of the heaven and the earth and all that is in them came down and humbled himself in the likeness of a man, even to the stake. Wow. If he did that, then so should we. We should humble ourselves and walk in humility with Yahuwah and honor our elderly and respect them and show them dignity and love and joy to be around them. It's really a blessing just to be around them. It really is. If you ever talk to one in depth, you may have to get up a little bit close to them. Forget about that 6 foot apartness crap. Get up there a little bit close to them so you can hear them better, because their voice is failing. You know, they have a lot they can tell you. All you need to do is listen. That's why we got 2 ears. We're supposed to listen twice as much as we speak, because we only have 1 mouth. Okay, we're supposed to look, see, twice as much as we talk. We're supposed to listen twice as much as we talk. So we only have 1 mouth. We have 2 ears, we have 2 eyes, right? And we have 2 arms to hug them and listen to them, because they're just a library full of knowledge and truth and experience to share with somebody, anybody who's willing to sacrifice a few minutes, a few hours, or a few days with them. So there you go, folks. Rise up in the presence of a gray-haired man. And remember to stay in love with Yahushua HaMashiach. Thank you for watching, folks. So long, that's Seraim. So long, everybody.
Living water, Baruch haba Hashem Yahuwah, Yahusha. Living water, Baruch haba B'Shem Yahuwah. I sing out with praise to you. Your name is beautiful to me, my King. I sing out with praise to you. My heart desires to honor you, my Yah. I sing out with praise to you, Yahusha. Living Torah, Baruch haba B'Shem Yahuwah, Yahusha. Living Torah, Baruch haba B'Shem Yahuwah. I sing out with praise to you. Your name is beautiful sing out with praise to you. My heart desires to honor you, my Yah. I sing out with praise to you, Yahusha. Living Torah, Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. Yahusha, living water, Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. Yahusha, living water, Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. I sing out with praise to you. Your name is beautiful to me, my King. I sing out with praise to you. My heart desires to honor you, my Yah. I sing out with praise to you, Yahusha. Living Torah, Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. Yahusha, living Torah, Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. I sing